cold doesn't wait. It doesn't care if you're ready. It just keeps working. Wind strips sound from the air. Snow hides movement. Distance lies to your eyes. In Narmalsk, the cold is obvious. The danger is not. That's usually when people make mistakes. DayZ never rushed those moments. He slowed them down instead. Watched how the wind pushed snow across open ground. Listened to how sound changed when the temperature dropped far enough to bend it. His name was DayZ. He had a habit of pulling people aside. The ones who were still figuring things out. The ones who knew something wasn't right, but couldn't explain why. He'd explain it properly. How distance really works. Why shots fall short. Why rushing never helps. He'd show them how to get food when supplies ran thin. How to build a fire when everything was soaked. How to dry clothes before the cold decided for you. Sometimes people miss small things. A piece of gear, a moment of inattention. DayZ noticed. He didn't make a point of it. Just handed it back when they realized. Enough to make the lesson stick. Loyalty doesn't last long out here. It usually comes with conditions. Distance, risk, convenience. With DayZ, it didn't. If someone from the devil's advocates went down, there was no debate, no discussion about whether it was worth it. They were already moving. Everyone knew their role. Someone held the perimeter. Someone watched the approaches. Someone made sure they didn't get hit from behind. And DayZ went forward. When things turned serious, the humor stopped. He moved fast then, controlled, exact. In blizzards, he was different. While most people waited for the storm to pass, he treated it like cover. Snow hides sound. It hides movement. It doesn't hide intent. If you ever saw DayZ standing out in the open during a storm, calm, exposed, almost bored, that wasn't a mistake. It meant the devil's advocates were already where you weren't looking. When it was over, there was no celebration. No stories told straight away. He checked his gear, asked who needed medical, made a quiet comment about wind direction or poor positioning, then moved on. That was DayZ. Not loud, not reckless. He just understood that survival is about being ready before others realize they're not. They say Shanaris breaks everyone eventually. It strips away hope, strips away humanity, and leaves you hollow. But Plain Shane refused to break. He understood that survival wasn't about taking, but about giving. That strength wasn't force, but resilience. And that even in the darkest times, a single act of kindness could light the way forward in a land of desperation. He stayed calm. While others rushed, he moved steady. They called him Plain Shane, not because he was ordinary, because he made the hard times feel manageable. He didn't hunt for fights, but he never avoided them either. No. You'd find him walking, listening, letting the wind whisper the secrets of the land, letting silence speak before he ever took a step. His reputation wasn't built on headshots or boasts. It was built on something far more valuable. Trust. Food when bellies were empty. Bandages when wounds bled, a quiet word. When hope flickered. They joked he was a walking shop. They weren't wrong. But he was more than that. He was a lifeline. His clothing told the same story. Hunter gear. Worn practical. Wellies, not boots. Chosen for silence, not for show. He didn't perform who he was. He simply was. The world demanded spectacle. He offered only presence. Steady, practical, true. Chaos found him, whether he sought it or not. There was a bus, a desperate escape that didn't go as planned. Shane and Kyle worked on the ground, building barriers, trying to free it. Negan was behind the wheel. Then it happened. The bus went airborne. Kyle shouted. Negan gripped the wheel, heart racing. But Plain Shane, he laughed. A deep, genuine laugh that cut through the terror. A reminder that even in the face of oblivion, with friends at your side, there was still room for a shared moment of absurdity. You'd often see him with his headset on, not to shut the world out, but to stay anchored to it. Familiar voices, normal conversations, echoes of a life that once was. Not an escape, a reminder of who he was, who he could be, in a world trying to strip away everything but survival. People stayed close to Plain Shane, not because he promised safety, because he made danger feel manageable. He didn't offer false hope. He offered practical solutions. In a land built on suspicion, he was routine in a place that rewarded aggression. He offered patience in a world where everything could be taken. He focused on what could be shared. He didn't take more than he needed. And he never complained about the wait, because this wasn't a game. It was a place, a hard one, a broken one, but still a place worth saving. And he was just another person, still walking through, generous when others would have stopped.
They call her Twitchy. Not as a joke, not as a persona. The name came from something real. Stress shows itself physically for her in small, ordinary ways. A movement, a shift. Sometimes a sound, high-pressure environments do that. And the place where much of this story unfolded is built on pressure. Hunger, silence, long stretches of uncertainty, and the constant sense that something could change at any moment. People notice. Some misunderstand. She doesn't spend much time correcting them. Not because she owes anyone an explanation, but because Twitchy isn't a flaw. It's simply part of how she experiences stress and part of how she keeps moving through it. She didn't arrive knowing what she was doing. She was new to environments like this, places where every interaction carries weight, where trust is rare and where mistakes linger. Her first real encounter didn't go well. She wasn't prepared, she didn't yet understand what she was holding, or why it wasn't doing what she expected. Instinct stepped in where experience hadn't arrived yet. The moment was confusing, fast, and ended abruptly. What stayed with her wasn't embarrassment. It was clarity. She saw how much there was to learn, and instead of leaving, she decided to stay. She talked. She listened. Time-stretched conversations replaced panic. What started as exploration became routine, and routine turned into belonging. The environment mattered less than the people inside it. Encounters became stories. Stories became shared memory. Friendships formed quickly, the way they often do under pressure. A trio became a constant. Trust grew through repetition, through showing up, through being present when things didn't go smoothly. And then pressure did what it always does. Conflict surfaced, emotions ran high, expectations collided. The trio didn't last. That loss wasn't abstract. It was real time, real trust, real disappointment. Friendships that mattered fractured under pressure. And with it came a choice. Respond emotionally or build intentionally. She chose to build. Chaos theory became the space that held that decision, not as a reaction fueled by bitterness, but as something shaped by experience. A place built with boundaries, with accountability, with the understanding that chaos doesn't have to mean cruelty. Chaos theory wasn't about eliminating risk. It was about making risk fair. These days, she doesn't avoid tension. She moves toward it carefully. She organizes events. She wanders. She places herself where interaction is possible, but never guaranteed. Not because she's chasing conflict, but because meaning tends to live there. Safety has its place, but growth doesn't come from hiding. The tells never disappeared, they don't need to. She doesn't mask them or apologize for them. She understands herself well enough to keep moving forward, even when stress is visible. That understanding is what gave rise to the teddy bears. It started lightly, almost as a joke. One bear placed carefully. Then another. Over time, a pattern emerged. Intentional, quiet, unmistakable bears left in houses, in shared spaces, in a small yellow church that slowly became something else entirely. All placed, never dropped, each one an invitation. Sometimes they hold something useful. Sometimes they hold nothing at all. The value isn't what's inside. It's the pause they create. That moment where someone hesitates instead of reacting, where expectation breaks just long enough to realize this encounter isn't hostile, that not every unknown presence means danger. The teddy bear cult isn't about mystery or control. It's about interrupting fear. Twitchy doesn't seek power. She cultivates moments. This wasn't about getting away from anything. It was about learning how to stay. That's chaos, shaped carefully. That's Cherneris, a place where stories happen because people stay. And if you ever find something placed just a little too thoughtfully, something that makes you pause instead of panic, that wasn't coincidence. That was someone choosing connection in a space that rarely rewards it.
Trust is a dangerous game of roulette. In Cherneris, it rarely destroys you all at once. Instead, it wears you down slowly, until the person you once were becomes someone you barely recognize. Shadow learned this early. He survived by staying unseen, moving quietly through forests, abandoned towns, and empty roads. He avoided attachments, avoided communities, avoided anything that might tie his fate to another person. Attachment was risk. Trust was often the first mistake. He had been trained by a man who believed mercy was just a slower way to die. Feelings get you killed. His mentor told him regret gets you buried. At first, Shadow resisted. Then he accepted. Eventually, he lived by it. Violence does not change a person overnight. It erodes them choice by choice, line by line, until one day you realize something inside you is missing. Still, he survived. In this world, survival has a way of justifying almost anything. While tracking a group rumored to have recovered rare weapons from a military convoy deep inside a contaminated zone, Shadow and his mentor prepared an ambush along a quiet road. They left a vehicle in plain sight, too valuable for desperate survivors to ignore. Greed is predictable, predictability is fatal. The attack was fast. 2 lives ended before the echo of the first shot faded into the trees. Then a third survivor appeared, weapon raised, hands shaking. Shadow fired, but a branch stole the round from its path. She pulled the trigger in return. Click. No magazine. Fear had outrun preparation. His mentor drove her into the dirt with the grip of a pistol. Shadow argued for her life, insisting she was no longer a threat. Weakness, the mentor muttered, but allowed her to live for her usefulness. In the weeks that followed, she guided them toward hidden camps and the people she once trusted. One by one, those places fell silent. Yet something unexpected happened.
she stayed, she spoke. And slowly, trust formed where hatred should have lived. She later revealed she'd been sold to that group long before Shadow found them. Whatever had been taken from her was already gone. Time passed, morality became friction between Shadow and the man who trained him. Disagreement sharpened until words were no longer enough. The fight was sudden, brutal, human. And in one irreversible moment, Shadow was shot and left behind to die. But the life he had once argued to spare refused to let him disappear into the dirt. Twitchy found him, carried him back from the edge, and stayed when leaving would have been safer together. They walked away from the ghost of that past and chose to begin again. But the past is patient. When the black market placed a contract in Shadow's hands, it demanded something heavier than violence. The name alone carried weight. Ghoul. Some survivors adapt to this world, others allow it to hollow them out until nothing human remains. Ghoul had crossed that threshold long ago. Stories followed him. Cruelty without purpose. Suffering inflicted not for survival, but because he could lie and still existed in this broken world, invisible, fragile, necessary. Ghoul didn't cross them. He erased them. For many, the contract was justice. For Shadow, it was something far more complicated because monsters are easy to kill. Friends are not. After securing the cuffs, they walked together through the open land. Two figures bound by history and moving steadily toward its end. Questions filled the silence. Who wanted him dead? What had he done? Shadow never answered. A code means nothing if you abandon it when it becomes difficult. At the tree line, he turned Ghoul toward a dense bush. A small mercy sparing him the sight of what waited behind him. Last words drifted into the wilderness. Then came the request. Look me in the eyes when you pull the trigger. Shadow didn't. Not out of fear, but because some burdens are easier carried when you refuse to witness the exact moment they are placed upon you. For a brief moment, the world held its breath, then the rifle broke the silence. Once, it was a walk to a man's execution, but also the burial of something far less visible, another piece of the person Shadow used to be. Ghoul had lost his humanity long before that day. Shadow fears he may be losing it still, because the deepest betrayal is not between enemies. It is the quiet betrayal of yourself, each time you become capable of what you once believed you never would. Shadow moved through Chernarus, watchful as ever, trusting no one. He understands the truth most survivors learn too late. The most dangerous people are not always the ones who threaten you. They are the ones who earn your trust and force you to decide who you are when the trigger finally breaks.
Sakal isn't a place you come. It's a place you outlast. On Sakal, the snow hides everything. Gunshots travel farther than they should. And the cold waits for anyone who makes a mistake. War came first. Then the infection. After that, people stopped pretending they were decent. On Sakal, trust doesn't live long. But stories do. And this one started with a journal. It was found near Nogovo, inside the jacket of a dead man. Bandits found him before anyone else did. Quick work. But the journal survived. And inside those pages was a name. Veli. What comes next is written in that journal. The journal says the man had already run into bandits in the northern forest. He escaped them, wounded, feverish. Bandits following the tracks he left in the snow. He lit a fire to survive the night. The cold would have killed him otherwise. But firelight carries through the forest. After that, the journal says he remembered nothing until he woke up somewhere he hadn't built. A roof above him, firewood stacked, bandages replaced, and beside the bed, a note. Don't light fires at night. Light travels farther than you think. No explanation. Just quiet outside the walls. The journal describes strange things after that. Food appearing near the tree line, traps reset before morning. A rifle cleaned while the man slept. Whoever was helping him stayed out of sight. Always somewhere in the forest. Watching. Once, the rider heard the muted crack of a suppressed VSD somewhere in the trees. The next morning, the bandits who had been tracking him were gone.
All of them.
The journal says the man recovered.
Got stronger.
Learned patience. Sometimes there were notes waiting for him. Short ones. You're stronger. Move soon. Trust no one. Then one morning, the note stopped. No supplies. No tracks. No when had been there. The journal ends with the man packing what he could carry and heading south. He believed he could manage alone. Weeks later, they found him. Ambushed. Bandits again. The journal was still inside his jacket. That's how the story started moving across the island. And not long after, things began to change. Bandits started disappearing. Some were sniped from distant ridges. Others were found with their throats cut. Traps buried beneath fresh snowfall. Gunfire drawing attention one way, while something moved in from another. Men found in the forest by morning, crows already circling. And sometimes nearby, survivors would find small caches. Food, medicine, ammunition, left where someone desperate might find it. No message, no name, just balance. There's one story people repeat more than the others. Military Island. The guard tower near the generator building. Bandits had taken control of the bunker. Anyone who tried getting close didn't walk away. 2 survivors pushed that island one night. They ended up pinned in the tower. Gunfire everywhere. Outnumbered. The fight lasted longer than anyone expected. By morning, the bunker wasn't controlled anymore. Bodies scattered across the snow. Some say only one set of tracks left the island. But stories change depending on who tells them. Some claim Veli was finally killed later in the volcanic forests. An ambush. Bandits say they caught him moving through the ash fields during a storm. But no one ever proved it. No body was shown. No weapon recovered. Just a patch of disturbed ground in the snow. And a story told by men who had every reason to believe it. Weeks later, someone swore they heard a suppressed rifle shot echo through the storm. After that, a story started again. Maybe the journal was real. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe Veli was just a patient man with a rifle. Or maybe he was simply what happens when the wrong people push too far. If you wake up one morning on Sakhalin, and there's food in your pack you don't remember packing, don't go looking for the person who left it. And if you're the kind who hunts the weak, the kind who thinks numbers make you untouchable, You should hope the storm never notices you. Because on Sacco, sometimes the storm watches back. And some people call that the ghost of Sacco.